Today and tomorrow, Chinese officials and members of President Trump's economic team will meet at the Treasury Department to try to work out a deal that would avoid a trade war. The U.S. wants China to trim its trade surplus and to change the way it deals with American intellectual property. China wants the U.S. to drop its tariff threats and ease up on cell phone maker ZTE. There's also a more local angle to the negotiations. States have their own economic ties to China. In Iowa, a quarter of the state's soybean crop goes to the Chinese market, part of the larger $2 billion trading relationship. And the connection between Iowa and China goes beyond money.
So, this was a photo from 1985.
This is Xi Jinping there?
Yeah.
Just joking around and...
Yeah. They seem to be silly and fun.
How young he was.
Yeah.
Sarah Landy organized Xi Jinping's first visit to this Mississippi River town in Iowa in 1985. At the time, Xi was a county-level official with the Communist Party, on a mission to learn about advanced agricultural techniques. Landy was a member of the Iowa Sister States organization, which was forging ties with China. In 2012, Xi came back to Landy's house, this time as China's vice president.
Vice President Xi, welcome back to Iowa.
When he walked in, the smile that he had on his face, everybody was glad to greet one another. Xi Jinping made a few remarks that each of the old friends shared a memory. And he remembered almost everything about all the people. It has had a lasting effect.
A couple miles down the road from Landy is the home where Xi stayed in '85. The house is now owned by Glad Chang, a Chinese businessman who arrived in Muscatine in 2013, shortly after Xi became the president of China.
Mrs. Landy arranged them to stay in this house and just like a host family.
So you bought this house and you turned it into a museum?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a very interesting story.
Admission to the museum is free. Most of its visitors are Chinese tourists. This is the bed where he slept?
Yeah.
Is it possible that Muscatine is more famous in China than it is in America?
Yeah.
I never heard of it before this.
Yeah, I think now Muscatine in China is very famous.
These cultural ties mean that for a farmer and businessman like Steve Sukup, trade with China is not purely a financial transaction. In '85, Sukup's farm was one of the stops on Xi's tour. They were out here to learn for the most part.
Yes, yeah. They wanted to talk crop agriculture and a little bit of livestock. He wanted to learn stuff. He was very inquisitive and asked a lot of questions and knew that he was absorbing it. Wasn't just sort of talking about it, that he really wanted to bring back some information to China.
Now, Sukup runs one of Iowa's largest grain bin manufacturers. He's a supporter of President Trump, but the talk of tariffs and trade wars has taken a toll on his business.
Steel is our number one raw material we use, and if steel prices go up to 10, 20, 40%, which we saw this past year, it changes our pricing, and so our customers are very concerned about that.
If there is a trade war, does one side have more to lose than the other?
I really believe that Iowa and the U.S. could be the bigger loser in it if it really got dramatic, whether it's on the steel tariffs or embargoes. We'd be the first ones to lose on that.
What is the China-Iowa relationship?
Well, I think it's become a personal relationship. There is a trust that develops there. I mean, looking each other in the eye and saying, okay, what can you do? What's fair? What can we do differently in the future to make it better?
The Chinese in particular, they're saying, okay, Washington is a little more hostile to us, but we have Iowa.
No, I think as long as there's a base that they feel comfortable with and is an important base to them, because we do supply them with a lot of good value product, that they'll hopefully take that into consideration. I mean, we've had chances to personally visit with President Xi. There is that personal connection that we can hopefully get beyond some of the trade talks.